name is Todd Murphy. I was elected to the House of Delegates in Maryland in 1994, in part because I worked really hard, but the other part of it was the contract with America. Now that we don't have a presidential campaign going on, and you guys are all in, 50 different states, well, you're not in New England, but and you only one in Maryland. Isn't it time for the party, for representatives in Congress to come together, redraft a contract with America? It helped me get elected. I think it would help some of these guys get elected, and it might help us recapture what we did in '94. I mean, God knows what happened in 2006 and 2008 ain't working. So let's go back to the model that did.
Well, first I dispute that there's not a presidential campaign going on. Every time I pick up the paper, somebody I know is running for president, and I have to offer up a prayer for the soul of their sanity. Why are you doing this? That's going on. So one of the differences we're going to have to do is to come up with. We have been putting out positive ideas. Now I know it's hard to believe because you don't see it on MSNBC. But look, we put forward a stimulus bill in the House of Representatives at the president's own request. Remember, incoming president, he asked us, where are your ideas? Evidently, he hadn't cracked a book on conservatism in his entire life. But fair enough, every time it's a teachable moment for the president, we figured we'd give him our proposal. We gave him a stimulus bill that relied on tax relief for Americans, for small businesses. It was humane enough to remove the tax on unemployment benefits. And the president's own economic advisors' metrics said that ours would create twice the jobs at half the cost. Of course, they consider you keeping your money at cost to government. They rejected it out of hand and went around saying we were the party of no. Okay, now I'm an old rocker. I remember the Ian Hunter song, once bitten, twice shy. So he bites us fine. When they passed the cap and tax bill, the national energy tax from a state like Michigan is going to destroy us. We came up with our all of the above energy strategy, which is we have to have common sense conservation, we have to maximize the energy production here at home, and we have to have free market-based innovative green technologies to have a responsible transition to an alternative energy future. No shock therapy, no statist approach. Well, they forgot that we did that too. So there's two of the big three issues we have. Healthcare, we are putting forward our principled position. We have members introducing their bills. At some point, we will link them together if they want to hit the reset button and work with us on behalf of our shared constituents in the United States. Now, as for the contract with America, look, I'm 44. So when 94 was rolling around, I was a county commissioner, a little wet behind the ears. I had some hair back then. Good times. We can't continue to mythologize the contract with America. The contract with America was important. It came out toward the end. It was a list of things to do to reform Congress itself, because there was a corrupt Democratic Congress. But let us not lose sight of the fact that it was Bill Clinton coming in, raising taxes, talking about nationalizing your health care that really set the American people off. We are in a similar situation, but I would argue to aim for a contract with America will do two things. One, if we try to do just limited government targeted reforms about fixing Congress like transparency, the issues we face are too big for simply to do that. The American people know it. The other part is, we do not want to get in a situation where we spend all day talking to each other and fighting amongst ourselves about ideas that may or may not ever see the light of day. What we have to do, I think, is focus on our principal difference with this administration, put those forward, and most importantly, run as you did in your constituency. See, one of the things that we tend to forget, one of the reasons 2006 and 2008 didn't work, and I see this from my own district bordering the city of Detroit, the Republican Party thought we were a nationalized parliament that was passing nationalized legislation that in many ways was divorced from the reality that our constituents found in our separate and distinct communities. Reagan was very smart, Russell Kirk was very smart. Politics is the art of the possible. I want members representing their community when they go to Washington. I don't necessarily want a big, long tract or a very short tract of what a nationalized Republican Party is going to do. Because people in Michigan may view it differently than people in the Northeast, may view it differently than people down in Austin, Texas, or may view it differently than people up in Seattle. What you have to start to remember is it is principles that link us. I would just put 5 things on paper. That's what I would do, and I'd let my candidates run and respect and reflect the people who entrust them with office. As Republicans, there's basically 5 principles we agree on. Okay? Our liberty is from God, not the government. Our sovereignty is in our souls, not the soil. Our security is from strength, not surrender. Our prosperity is from the private sector, not the public sector. And our truths are self-evident, not relative. This is not my epiphany. This is what the country was founded on. We will differ in our application of these principles to the contemporary problems we face. But what's more important is that the Democrats will differ on us over these principles. And that is why we will win, and that is what will allow individual members to get elected in their districts. And when they come to Washington, the biggest lesson I hope we all learn, it's like a baseball team. I'm a Lions guy, so I'm not going to use the football team. You have to come up with a winning strategy for the players that you have. So the first thing you'll have to do is look at the different constituencies and say, what is possible amongst all of us when we get here based on these principles? And how do we fix the problems that the American people tell us are important, not the ones that we think? I think we can do that. I think we will do that. I know we have to do that.
We have time for 2 more questions. We have one here and we have one over there. Raise his hand.
Congressman, my name is Tom Ellman. I've recently retired from Ford Motor Company in Dearborn, a neighbor of yours. And contrary to common belief, Ford always wanted to see General Motors succeed. And I wondered if you had any hope left that there's a possible restructuring of General Motors to return it more to the free enterprise model.
So you're one of the, it's 100,001 people Michigan's lost. Look, I make no apology for my support of the bridge loans to GM and to Chrysler for 2 fundamental reasons, and then I'll address the Ford question at the end. These were working people that in this industry, which had been painful at restructuring as Ford had started and led the way. My district's essentially a Ford district. Closed the Wixom plant, white-collar jobs lost all across the country, the manufacturing base hanging in the balance, trying to do the right thing, trying to sell cars, trying to make quality, and then the Wall Street financial crisis hit. I was not going to lose America's manufacturing base at the very time that Wall Street got bailed out. I was not going to do it. And I'll tell you why. You may disagree with the economics of it. I want you to think that, if you leave one thing from me, remember this. America is not an economy. America is not a bureaucracy. America is a country. And for our fellow working class blue-collar citizens to see that they were allowed to go under with not a thought in the world and nothing but abuse heaped on them at the very time the people who lead far higher lifestyles are being bailed out with their tax dollars does not lead to the type of order and social cohesion that the United States needs in this difficult period of time. Do I think that they will come back? Yes. Do I think that the country is going to be particularly happy that they had to do it? No. But I think in the long run we will be better off with a manufacturing base in this country that can produce things such as armaments if we ever need them again, and I think we might. And that understands that the equitable nature, the unequitable nature of trying to bail out Wall Street and let workers go under was not a sustainable model in any country that has ever existed on the face of the planet. You can ask Marie Antoinette about that. So what I would say is, will these companies come back? Yes. Will they ever be as strong and powerful and able to dictate to markets like they were? No. Will that necessarily be a bad thing that they can't dictate to markets? No. But they are committed to survive. They're committed to feed their families. They're committed to making these products, and I think they will. It will happen. It will be painful. It will take time.